Most gracious and most merciful, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant afternoon. Members of the hall, Mr. Jahabar Sadiq, esteemed boss of the Malaysian Insider. I'm very honored to be here, to be invited here. This is my very first time speaking. Thank you. I mean, I've actually had lunch with two of the speakers, Ms. Tabitha Ujang and Mr. Pang Jo Fan. Well, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Akademi Belia, which is a platform to allow intellectual discourse among the youngs. So long have we been torn and been gripped apart by political divide, that there isn't actually any platform for the youth to actually go out there and say, these are my ideas for the youth of this country, without having to resort to political affiliations. Now that's what I aim to do at Akademi Belia. Today we'll be speaking about Malaysia, national identity, what it means to be Malaysia. Now I'm just going to go do a quick test. Can anyone in the audience just tell me what can you deduce from this picture? Anyone? Okay, Jahabar said it's badly Photoshop. The reason why I'm bringing this picture up relates to the first question of the first order of the day, which is unity and diversity. Is it mere cliche, or is it reality, or it's just a concept so abstract that no one seems to know what it is? Now, if you notice this picture, all of them are male, except one of them standing upside down. Unity and diversity, as coined by Wikipedia and a whole lot of definition that you can find online, is structures so you can still be a single unit without being punished for being different in that unit. That's unity and diversity. Basically, I can still wear a short sleeve shirt in this hall without being punished by the rest of the people who wears jacket, for example. So that's my take on unity in diversity. Now, is it a cliche or is it a reality? Now, I believe it's reality. It's a concept that we can actually live if only we look into ourselves and ask ourselves, through what lens are we seeing the events of today? Through what lens are we seeing our neighbor? Through what lens are we seeing our friends? Through what lens are we seeing the political events that's happening in this country? I believe that before you can start going out there and talk about, I want to change the world, I want to make the world a better place, I want world peace, first and foremost, it has to begin from yourself. Now, I'm quoting the eternal quote of Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see. Now, if you wish to see, as I do, my vision for this country, I dream of a country where one day I no longer have to explain to my peers, oh, I have a Chinese friend, I have a Sarawakian friend, I have a Sabah friend. I dream that one day I can safely and proudly say, oh, Pang Jo Fan is my friend, Tabitha Ujang is my friend, Mr. Jahabar Sadiq is my friend, without having to resort to racial lenses. It's how you see things. Now, recent events have greatly exaggerated and have greatly exemplified how one individual version of the events actually created a lot of buzz. How do we expect unity then? I would like to posit, I would like to actually start talking about a new way of talking about unity. Long since I've ever remembered, since anyone in the room has ever remembered, unity is about, bringing different races together. It's actually about when you have a Malay, an Indian, a Chinese, a Sabahan, a Sarawakian put together in a picture, and then you say, there you have it, we're a united country. But I believe there's something more than that. There's something more than just putting people of different races. Today, I would like to make a declaration that Unity to me should not be about the color of your skin, should not be about putting together people of different races, should not be about putting together people of different faith. It should be about putting together people with common values. It's time that we distill and look past all these colors, race, religion, and this whole perimeters that society have put in place, and decide to acknowledge someone for the values they bring. For example, all the panelists here, we all share the same values. We want Malaysia to be a better country. No, we work hard for it. We believe in a higher cause. We sacrifice professional careers, making big bucks just to do the things that we do today. Now, that to me is unity. That to me is what matters most moving forward in this country. Because it's not enough to talk about having people of different races. Why do you even go there in the first place? Why do we even segregate people through their race, through their religion? Why can't we all believe in values? Universal values that everyone has been talking about of late. Even the global shift towards more morality. Government throughout the whole world have been putting extra emphasis, especially on values. Why can't society be the same? Why can't we put more focus on values and look past our differences? And then, of course, the second question would be going past the slogans, which is One Malaysia, Malaysia Truly Asia, Malaysia Boleh, so on and so forth. Now, much talk have been said about how we have this panache of slogan, of coming up with slogans. We seem to be fixated with coming up with slogans. Anything and everything in this country has to be a tagline to it, or a tagline attached to it. But then again, there are no substance. What is real? Behind Malaysia Boleh, behind One Malaysia, what is real? Are the people upstairs really in tune with what is real? Today, we've got newspaper reports, we've got friends who say, oh, racial intolerance, oh, religious intolerance, this and that, oh, this society is intolerable to this society, and so on and so forth. Well, the fact of the matter is, I had lunch with Mr. Pang Jofan, Tabitha Ojang. It didn't matter to me that they weren't of the same race. I didn't even think of it that way. Now, I'd like to share with you a personal story. When I was 19, I went to College Matrikulasi Pahang to do my A-levels. There, I decided to run for office. I was the student office, not the office. So, back then, I was the only one who delivered my manifesto speech in English. Remind you, it was in Pahang where 80% of the students are from the East Coast. We've got the people from Pahang, Kelantan, and Terengganu. As I expected, when I go up, ladies and gentlemen, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful, boo, oh, kecek orang putih ni, kecek orang putih. You see, when that happened, of course it put me down. Naturally, it has to put me down. Here you are, a Malay, talking English to East Coast people. And I want their votes to be in the office. So the whole thing went about and whatnot. So during the election day, this guy by the name Chris came up to me, and a friend of mine from school called Uma came to me and said, Rahman, you're doing a great job. Rahman, we support you. So that makes me think, how come I don't get people of my own color to say this kind of thing to me? What do they see in me that my Malay brethren couldn't see in me? So at the end of the day, I won by about 900 votes. 820 of those votes came from the non-Malay students. And then I went up to them and said, why? Why do you vote for me? Why do you believe? I said, and they told me that you're the first guy who went up there and decided not to talk about Indians, Malay, Chinese. You're the first guy who actually went and said, we need better governance, we need transparency, we need a collective action, and we need, a proper student group to fight for the student. Now, that's my own experience of unity in diversity. They were all diverse, they had different experiences, they had different upbringing, but we all connected at that point in time because we all believe in the same values. That is what I would like to propose to members of the hall today, and of course, to moving forward. That's what we need to do. We need to actually rethink the way we see unity. We need to actually look past bringing together different parameters. No, we should be looking forward, bringing a lot of different values together. I must admit, I'm the least creative of all the panels. As you can see from my slides. It was just a 10-minute haphazardly done slides. But then again, the real reason why we are all gathered here is because we shared the same thing. We shared the same vision, we shared the same beliefs, and we bring together different values. That's what I like to see in Malaysia. And sadly to say, even my peers of this day is politically divided, racially divided, religiously divided, and none of them decides to come to term on the same values. Why? Why is this happening? Now, moving forward, what do I propose actually? Like I was saying earlier, the individual response, the individual lenses that we put on ourselves whenever we see things, whenever we deduce things, is very important. And to get the right individual lenses, I don't believe in right or wrong. It's just a matter of whether one A is practical in A situation or B is practical in B situation. I believe family plays a really, really crucial role on how we bring up our children, how we actually bring up the youth of today. What your parents taught you will somehow be imprinted in you, and when you have children in the later day, you will somehow imprint that thought on them. Now, I'm sure all of us here have come across that one family who's adamant to not mix with the other races, who's adamant to prove that our value system is the best, who's adamant to prove that our racial beliefs are the best, who's adamant to prove that our religions are the best. We shall not mix with other people because we are superior or we are better than them. We're more hardworking than them, they are lazy. Let's not mix with them. I'm sure all of us have come across this kind of people, and fortunately I had the gift of having a single mother who imparted in me this saying: everyone's human. Everyone, when they're hurt, they cry. When they fell down or when they decide to cut themselves, they bleed red blood. We are all the same. What differentiates us is our deeds. If you do nice to people, people will be nice to you. If you decide to do bad things to people, people will retaliate in response. Coincidentally, that's what I believe in when I first found out about Newtonian law, action, reaction. If you put forth a positive notion, if you put forth enough positive energy, then the world somehow magically will resonate that positive energy back. And parents of today, and moving forward, when I become a parent myself, I will make it a personal agenda to teach my kids or my future generations to look past all these differences and to actually realize the common values that we all have. The people in this hall, they came today believing, number one, there are gems that are going to be spoken by any one of these four speakers, believing that these are four speakers that will represent the young Malaysians of today. On Sabah and Sarawak, I have no issues with them. I love Sabah and Sarawak. I've been to Sabah, Sarawak and whatnot. And the thing I don't understand is, why do we have to talk about Sabah and Sarawak as if they are not part of us? Why should there be, to a certain extent, a special council on Sabah and Sarawak? Why? Why do you want to segregate people to that extent? We're all Malaysians. We all want our country to be better. We all want our country to be much more developed than Singapore. Social engineering aside. So why do they need to segregate them? This whole culture, or this whole issue of segregating things, fragmentizing them, why? Why do we need to do that? You see, David Brooks, I'd like to quote David Brooks on this. He said in his book, The Social Animal, which I'm currently reading, he said, human culture exists to control the natural desires of the species. Now, how does this relate to unity? That's why we have culture in the first place. If I were to follow the natural urges of my species, I'd just go about and be friends with people I feel close to. I wouldn't venture around. I'd probably kill someone, who does not share the same beliefs, if I were to follow the natural urges of the species. Because that's what mammals do. Everyone else is just a threat. If you were to follow your natural desires. That's why human culture exists in the first place. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, today, let's look past our differences. Even if we have differences, Mang Jofan has differences with me, Tabitha Ujang believes in different things as I do. I'm sure all of us believes in different things here. But let's look past all that and believe in the values that we bring to the table. Go to any organizations, go to any corporations to a certain extent. The first thing they're going to ask you, what do you bring to the table? What do you offer that we have to take you in? Why can't we adopt the same thinking in terms of society relations? Why can't we adopt the same thinking in community building? Why can't we actually ask someone, not ask someone, are you Chinese, are you Indian, are you Sabahan, Sarawakian? And instead ask them, what do you bring to the table? What expertise do you bring to the table? These are all questions that needs to be thrown out there, that needs to be answered by some of our community leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, before I more or less sit down and stop talking, I'd like to share a personal experience by my mother. When I was 9, my mother had a very serious discussion with me. She said, Abang, I go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. I came back at 8 o'clock at night to bring back 600 ringgit a month to feed a mouth of 3. I will find money to make sure that you stay in school. I will find money to make sure you have all the books. I will find money to make sure you have all the utensils. But what I cannot guarantee you, or what I cannot help you with, is whether or not you'll stay in school, or whether or not you want to study and succeed, and whether or not you want to be industrious and hardworking or successful in later life. That conversation leave such an impact. At an early age, I was 9 and I realized my destiny is my own. It's not about assigning total blame to society or fate because of what happened to you. The same way with unity. Now there's so much talk about, this unity, and then you're talking about, let's find who to blame when it comes to disunity. You have, let's say for example, one ethnic group decides to go against one ethnic group. Let's find something to blame. Instead of looking inside and asking yourself, what can I do to make this better? Instead of looking inside and asking yourself, how do I see things in retrospect? With that, thank you very much.